Hi, I'm Amy Goodman. You're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Amy, and I'm Randy Hansen. In World News headlines today: defying veto threat, GOP links tax cut to Keystone XL oil pipeline. And Eric Holder, the thief, vows to pursue restrictive voting laws. And 32 killed in continued Syrian violence. And Iran demands U.S. apology for recovered drone. And U.S. drone crashes in Seychelles. The UN seeks record $1.5 billion for Somali crisis. Jerusalem mosque defaced, torched in wave of settlement vandalism. Palestinians urge Security Council condemnation of settlements vandalism. Palestinian flag raised at UNESCO headquarters. And Murdoch denies reading email warning of hacking. Honduran journalists protest wave of killings. Environmental groups filed suit to block Gulf drilling auction, and Sandusky waives hearing, heads to trial, and NTSB urges national ban on cell phones while driving. GVTV News strives for neutral news, and all subject matter is only the views of GVTV News. This is not the views of NCTV Digital Media Center. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news stories, a Republican-controlled House has passed a bill that would extend Social Security payroll tax cuts but add on a series of unrelated provisions opposed by Democrats. In addition to tax cuts, the bill also calls for speeding the construction of the proposed Keystone XL pipeline that would move tar sands oils from Canada to Texas. Vote comes in defiance of the veto threat from President Obama, who has said he will reject any efforts to link tax cuts to the other proposals. U.S. Attorney General, the thief Eric Holder, is vowing to ensure the protection of voting rights to states that have recently enacted controversial laws that would, critics say, target low-income voters and people of color. In a speech on Tuesday, Holder said the Justice Department will aggressively review the laws most enacted by Republicans in the name of fighting fraud. 8 states have enacted laws that require voters to present state-issued photo IDs. Holder cited the concerns of Georgia Congress members, and civil rights leader John Lewis said, "In my travels across this country, I've heard a consistent drumbeat of concern from many Americans who often, for the first time in their lives, now have reason to believe that we are failing to live up to one of our nation's most noble and essential ideals." As Congressman John Lewis described in a speech in the House floor this summer, voting rights that he worked throughout his life and nearly gave his life to ensure are under attack. A deliberate, systematic attempt to prevent millions of elderly voters, young voters, and students, and minority and low-income voters from exercising their constitutional right to engage in the democratic process, unquote. Well, if you have ID, I don't see what the problem is. At least 32 people were killed in Syria on Tuesday in the latest violence during the uprising against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The deaths come one day after the United Nations estimated the toll since March has surpassed 5,000. United Nations Deputy U.S. Ambassador Rosemary DiCarlo criticized UN Security Council for failing to take action against Assad's regime and said, "My colleagues here are in touch with the Arab League. We're very much looking forward to the result of the meetings and are going to happen in a few days, and we will solidly behind them to support many of the things that they and we have called for, in particular an immediate end to violence and deployment of international human rights monitors, including commissions of inquiry and freedom of movement for journalists as well." Iran is rejecting a U.S. demand for the return of the U.S. drone that crashed near its eastern border earlier this month. The United States has acknowledged the drone was used as part of a CIA spy program that was sent many drones into Iran to purportedly monitor suspected nuclear sites. An Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, rather than seeking the drone's return, President Obama should apologize. He said Mr. Obama has requested the spy plane to be returned to the U.S. It seems that he has forgotten that our airspace was violated. A spying operation was conducted and international law has been violated. As the United States seeks the return of a drone from Iran, another U.S. drone was crashed in an airport in the island nation of Seychelles. U.S. officials say the aircraft was unarmed and used to monitor piracy off the East African coast. The United Nations has issued a record $1.5 billion appeal for the humanitarian crisis in Somalia. On Tuesday, UN humanitarian coordinator for Somalia, Mark Bowden, said the famine that has killed tens of thousands of people could worsen over the next year. He said, "We are literally on a knife's edge this year and we don't sustain our operations. I think it could be that we see serious problems develop. Areas that have recovered, perhaps moving back into famine-like conditions and also increasing displacement." Unknown vandals have set fire to a mosque in Jerusalem amidst a wave of increased attacks by Jewish settlers. In addition to the arson, the mosque was defaced with anti-Arab slurs and a price tag slogan associated with settlers' campaign to vandalize Palestinian property. The incident comes hours after a group of settlers broke into an Israeli army base in the West Bank and destroyed property in an apparent protest against dismantling of unauthorized outposts erected beyond the massive Jewish settlement blocks that already carve up the Palestinian land. An Israeli spokesperson for the settlers said the settlers had been violent. Over the night, some 50 rioters infiltrated the military base in Judea and Samaria, an Ephraim regional brigade. They acted in a very violent manner, throwing tires and hurling rocks at some of the soldiers and commanders. IDF sees this incident as a very severe manner. We're working currently to cooperate with other security organizations in the country to order to investigate this matter. Palestinians have accused the Israeli government of failing to act against settler attacks. At the United Nations, Palestinian ambassador Riyad Mansour called for the Security Council to weigh in on the vandalism and the Israeli government's ongoing expansion of settlements. And they said, "We want the Security Council to shoulder its responsibility with regards to these violations, especially the violations of the continuation of the illegal activities of Israel in the settlement front. And we will see that there will be a result of this consultation and collectively decide on what is possible. We want the most effective reaction from Security Council." Latest wave of settler attacks has accompanied Palestinian effort for statehood recognition in the United Nations. On Tuesday, the Palestinian flag was raised the first time in the headquarters of the UN Cultural Agency, UNESCO, in France. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas hailed the milestone and said, "We hope this will bode well for the Palestine becoming a member of other international institutions. We hope that there will be good auspices. We know the noble ambitions of UNESCO in terms of peace, education, culture, and science, and our admission today is a tremendous source of pride for us." New evidence has emerged. News International Executive Chairman James Murdoch was warned of a phone hacking at his family's media empire earlier than he admitted to. On Tuesday, a British parliamentary inquiry released in June 2008 email chain from the then News of the World editor Colin Myler that Murdoch received. In the email to Murdoch, Myler described the hacking revelation as a nightmare scenario. Murdoch replied to the email within 3 minutes, but now claims he did not read the full email chain outlining the situation. In Honduras, dozens of journalists clashed with soldiers outside the presidential palace in Tegucigalpa on Tuesday in a protest against a wave of killings targeting Honduran reporters. Soldiers threw tear gas at journalists as they tried to enter the palace. Some 24 journalists have been killed in Honduras since 2007, most of them since June 2009 ouster of the then President Manuel Zelaya. Honduran journalist Wendy Funes said, "We came here for justice for 24 journalists that have been killed in 2003. We have read the stories of many colleagues that have been killed and clear signs of summary execution which have been denounced by some human rights organizations." A coalition of environmental groups has filed a last-minute attempt to block the first auction of offshore oil drilling leases since the BP oil spill in April 2010. Federal government is scheduled to hold a sale on leases covering more than 20 million acres in the Texas coast. The Natural Resource Defense Council and the Center for Biological Diversity say the federal government has failed to take sufficient steps to prevent and repeat the repeat of a BP disaster. And former Penn State football coach accused of child molester Jerry Sandusky appeared in court on Tuesday, waiving a preliminary hearing in his ongoing sex abuse case. Sandusky faces 52 criminal counts for alleged abuse of 10 boys. Attorney of one of the alleged victims said Sandusky was trying to avoid facing his accusers. Howard Janet said he doesn't want to give these boys an opportunity to be heard directly because his continued effort to try and accuse these boys of not being honest would be completely shattered. Frankly, well, anyway, that's enough of that. I'm sure this guy is going away. National Transportation Safety Board is urging a nationwide ban on cell phones use while driving. On Tuesday, the NTSB became the first federal agency to call for such a measure. The board estimates cell phones used contributed to 3,092 highway deaths last year, more than 8 per day. And that's it for World News today. Now we'd like to thank another one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News.
Something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter. Pictures in the blotter, not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. Grass Valley Police Department on Monday. 10:25 a.m., caller from 100 block of Dorsey Drive reported finding a baggie of possible crystal meth. At 10:48 a.m., a woman from 300 block of North Star Place reported a man broke a vehicle's windshield. 12:20 p.m., caller from 300 block of Sutton Way reported a woman punched a hole in the door and tried to attack the caller. And 12:24 p.m., caller from 800 block of West Main Street reported the theft of a box containing an antique transformer from a back porch. 5:45 p.m., caller from business 100 block of West McKnight Way reported a theft with an employee chasing the suspect. At 9:14 p.m., caller from Carroll Drive requested extra patrols for a homeless camp and Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Monday. At 8:34 a.m., a caller from 13,000 block of Ridge Road reported vandalism to a truck. At 9:04 a.m., a caller from 18,000 block of Jayhawk Drive reported a possible internet fraud. At 10:20 a.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Gold Cone Drive reported theft of a roll of fence. At 10:34 a.m., a caller from 12,000 block of Loma Rica Drive reported burglary to a vehicle over the weekend. At 11:05 a.m., a caller from Fair Oaks Drive and Lake Wildwood Drive reported people refusing to give back items and possible drug issues. 11:19 a.m., a woman from 11,000 block of Pamela Drive reported a dispute her husband and a neighbor over a burn pile with some pushing. It was found to have been mutual combat. 11:54 a.m., a juvenile was cited on suspicion of possessing marijuana at Nevada Union High School. And 12:03 p.m., caller from 18,000 block of Cruzon Grade Road reported multiple thefts of mail from a mailbox. 12:33 p.m., a caller from 14,000 block of Meadow Drive reported a physical fight. At 12:54 p.m., a caller from McCourtney Road reported someone had spray painted the Christmas decorations as well as a speed limit sign on Lime Kiln Road. At 1:12 p.m., a caller from 14,000 block of Timber Lane reported theft of gas over the weekend. 1:48 p.m., caller from Hanley Drive reported caller's son was causing an argument with himself 8:30 p.m., a caller reported a person was ranting and raving and pounding on a door. The son agreed to stay in his room for the night. Nevada City Police Department on Monday, 9:04 a.m. Caller from Coyote Street reported a loud argument at a transient camp. A man and a woman were arrested on suspicion of possessing a controlled substance. 1:12 p.m., a caller from 700 block of Zion Street reported a shoplifter. And 6:57 p.m., a caller from Coyote Street reported a transient bleeding with a head injury who could not be located. And that's it for the Police Blotter today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. You guessed it, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
In today's local news headlines, Hummel to be arraigned on assault charges. The federal case against Hilke continued, and Nevada City Courthouse project still afloat. In our first story, Grass Valley businessman is set to be arraigned on multiple charges after allegedly assaulting his wife and 11-month-old child. Jason Hummel, 41, is facing 3 counts: spousal abuse, assault likely to cause great bodily injury, and child endangerment likely to cause great bodily harm in connection with the October 11th incident. Hummel allegedly choked his wife while she was holding the child, knocking her to the ground. Hummel owns J.H. Mint, a Grass Valley company developing infrastructure to mint silver coins. He also writes a newsletter for 80,000 subscribers and runs a website, silverstockreport.com. He is set to be arraigned on charges 9 a.m. Monday. Bauer hearing postponed. A preliminary hearing has been postponed for rape suspect Nicholas Dominic Bauer after a Nevada County Public Defender's Office declared a conflict of interest. Bauer, 44, in Nevada City, was arrested after partially clothed and unconscious woman was found on Dead Man's Trail in Nevada City early in the morning, July 31st. The woman allegedly was very intoxicated and couldn't remember anything that occurred, but a witness allegedly told police Bauer had sexual contact with her. Bauer has pleaded not guilty to oral copulation with an unconscious victim, rape of an unconscious and drugged victim, and assault with intent to commit rape. He is being held in county jail in lieu of a $100,000 bail. Attorney Greg Klein was appointed to represent Bauer, and a status conference was set for Thursday. And federal criminal proceedings against San Juan Ridge man arrested in September 2009 on pot cultivation and money laundering charges were continued for yet again last week as negotiations for a possible plea agreement continued. On Thursday, 55-year-old Charles Hilke Jr. appeared in court in Sacramento, but the hearing was continued until January 19th for a possible change of plea. IRS was involved in a lengthy investigation that led to the arrest of Hilke. Nearly 200 law enforcement officers and agents raided 9 locations on properties belonging to Hilke on the Ridge, allegedly finding 602 marijuana plants and 135 pounds of processed marijuana and $200,000 in cash. Criminal investigator from the IRS analyzed Hilke's financial documents, which allegedly revealed money laundering designed to conceal narcotic-related proceedings. IRS alleged Hilke earned $1.9 million in profit during the past 2 years, breaking up the large sums into transactions of less than $10,000 to evade a reporting requirement. Hilke allegedly used these structured funds to buy property, pay down or pay off mortgages, and pay individuals and taxes. Hilke also allegedly had associates help convert currency into money orders and cashier's checks and used associates to purchase property. Hilke was indicted by the grand jury in the U.S. District Court in Sacramento on charges of conspiracy, manufacturing more than 1,000 marijuana plants, and conspiracy to launder Monday. He pleaded not guilty and faces at least 10 years in prison for each of the conspiracy and marijuana growing charges. He also faces as many as 20 years for money laundering charge. If he's found guilty, his fines could reach $4 million for the first 2 charges, $500,000 for the third charge. Hilke also faces possibility forfeiture of a number of properties if it is determined that they were used in drug trafficking. In a story written by Christopher Rosucker affirming recommendations from a subcommittee, the State Judicial Council of Administration Office of the Court officially cut 2 courthouse construction projects in Alpine and Sierra counties, citing high cost and small caseloads. The nearly $108 million Nevada City Courthouse project was not among those delayed by Monday's actions, noting AOC spokeswoman Teresa Ruano. As part of the two-day meeting examining 41 statewide courthouse projects, the Judicial Council expected to cut more than $50 million from the construction budget. Recommendations came from the Court Facilities Working Group, a 25-member group appointed in July to oversee the judicial bench program, and is headed up by the Administrative Presiding Justice Brad R. Hill of the 5th Appellate District Court of Appeals. Nevada City project was proposed after the AOC determined the courthouse is unsafe, substandard, overcrowded, and functionally deficient, and endeavors to either reconstruct the courthouse in the same site or build a new facility in a different location. Hill noted at Monday's meeting that no final decision about a site have been made by the Nevada City project. AOC continues to look at options for the project, Ruano reported. Hill said a decision about the site would be made sometime early next year. As one of the 39 remaining projects, Nevada City's courthouse faces a scope of reevaluation as early as 2012 and could be revised to cut costs, according to the AOC. Also around the time the response to the public comments collected during the environmental impact report phase of the project is expected to circulate for 10 days, after which the administrative director of the court will decide whether to certify the final environmental impact report. The Judicial Council continues to meet, and that's it for local news today. We'd like to thank another couple of our underwriters and support your visual video news, and which is us. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Do you like desserts? They got them. You like international style lunches? They got them. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. Nevada County Sheriff's Office Most Wanted, December 7th, 2011. These people have warrants for their arrest. If you see any of these subjects on the street or have any information regarding their whereabouts, please contact the Sheriff's Department or local law enforcement. Every effort is made to keep this information as current as possible. However, the information provided should be verified before taking any action. Shown below, each picture is type of crime and last known city of residence. Please confirm warrant with Nevada County Sheriff's Warrant Division 530-265-1474. First up is Jason Angus McNutt, age 36, out of Truckee, violation, probation, felony, no bail. Next up, David Humberto Gonzalez, age 29, out of Grass Valley, lewd and lascivious acts, felony, $50,000. Aaron James Stock, age 31, Grass Valley, possessed controlled substance, felony, $30,000 bail. Daniel Robert Dwyer, age 44, Penn Valley, spousal abuse, felony, $25,000 bail. Molly Ruth Algier, age 23, Nevada City, numerous drug offenses, accessory to felony, $10,000 bail. Brendan Barker, age 31, whereabouts unknown, numerous drug offenses, felony, $70,000 bail. And Justin Owen Baer, age 35, Grass Valley, numerous drug offenses, felony, $42,500 bail. And Mark Ray Johnson, age 45, Grass Valley, numerous drug offenses, felony, no bail. Michael Carl Peterson, age 28, Portland, Indiana, stolen vehicle, felony, $10,000 bail. Jennifer Lynn Gray, aka Steele or Ross or Cooper, age 37, rough and ready, drugs, felony, no bail. Robert Dean Hicks, age 60, Sacramento, grand theft, felony, bail, $50,000. And James Doler Carroll, age 32, Nevada, attempted stolen vehicle, violation, probation, felony, no bail. Nevada County Sheriff's Office updated Most Wanted. This is 12/7/2011. These people have warrants for their arrest. If you see any of these people on the street or have information regarding their whereabouts, you can contact the Sheriff's Department. Every effort is made to keep this information current. And be careful. Some of these people could be dangerous. Please confirm your warrant with the Nevada County Sheriff's Warrants Unit at 530-265-1474. Do not attempt to apprehend these suspects. Instead, contact a local law enforcement agency or Nevada County Sheriff's Office, 530-265-1474. Next up is Sergio Espatilla, age 40, aka Armando Espatilla, or Sergio Bravo, wanted for murder, felony, no bail. Christopher Keith Besant, age 29, Nevada, burglary, grand theft, felony, no bail. And Charlene Jillian Hill, age 33, out of Nevada, drugs, violation, probation, felony, $25,000. Preston Robert Ryan, age 21, Grass Valley, possession of controlled substance and felony, no bail. And Justin Lee Nurse, age 23, Grass Valley, driving on a suspended license, vehicle registration compliance misdemeanor, $2,500 bail. And Michael Ray Melton, age 21, Seligman, Arizona, possession of stolen property, burglary, and felony, no bail. And Gordon Morgan Hewson, age 55, Olympic Valley, a DUI, fourth conviction in 10 years, revoked license, and a felony, $115,000 bail. And Richard Dean Jaffarian, age 21, out of Truckee, violation, probation, felony, no bail. And Cecil Cunningham, aka Morgan, or Gary Morgan, I don't know, age 56, whereabouts unknown, possibly LA, possible drugs for sale, conspire to commit crime, resist arrest, felony, $30,000 bail. And Tara Serene Davis, age 32, whereabouts unknown, possession of controlled substance under the influence, controlled substance, felony, $10,000 bail. And Sarah Ann Schneider, age 20, Auburn, Sacramento, stolen property, failed to comply with court order, felony, no bail. And Christopher Joel Argento, age 21, Grass Valley, numerous drug offenses, DUI, hit and run, violation, probation, 3 misdemeanors, $12,500 bail. These people have warrants for their arrest. If you see them on the street or have any information regarding their whereabouts, please contact your local law enforcement agency. Nevada County Sheriff's Office is at 530-265-1474.